parties in my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Rick Santorum, which of those three explanations, and maybe 2 and 3 are not necessarily...
I don't think 2 and 3 are mutually exclusive. I think what Congressman Pompeo said is correct, that ISIS was created because there was a dissatisfaction among many of the radicals that Al-Qaeda was not sufficiently virulent enough in defending Islam, and the opportunity for ISIS to prosper came when President Obama withdrew our troops. So, it's a combination of those two things. Door number one is Bernie Sanders' bill. I don't understand how anyone could argue that a state that was a stable state, again, according to President Obama, was a stable state, that was a democratic, stable state when we pulled out our troops. It is now the fault of the hawks that state no longer is stable. It's the result of folks like Rand Paul and Barack Obama who withdrew our troops precipitously and didn't leave a force to maintain stability and order.
So do you think Senator Paul and President Obama share a foreign policy perspective?
Well, they clearly do on this issue.
And how much of import will this be to people in Iowa and New Hampshire?
I get a foreign policy question. I certainly get questions on ISIS all the time. As you know, I talked about this in my speech, where we a little over a month ago, I was featured in ISIS magazine, and a picture and a quote under the title "In the Words of Our Enemy." And the reason I was featured is because for 12 years I have been calling out the radical jihadists. I've been talking about the gathering storm of the 21st century. We've talked about it many times, Hugh. And I believe this is a real existential threat, not just for Israel and for freedom in the Middle East, but for our country over the long term. They know that, and I know them, and I really believe we have an obligation to stop ISIS. If we do not stop them, if we do not start taking land back and shrinking their footprint, they are going to continue to be able to claim that they have a legitimate caliphate and call on people all over the world to jihad, not just to come to Syria, not just to come to Iraq, but to come to places in the United States, from the United States, here in the United States, to cause terrorist activity.
So is there a split in the Republican Party that is profound, deep, and unbridgeable?
I think there's a split, and it's a very small fraction of the Republican Party that is split. I don't think that Senator Paul represents a very significant part of the Republican Party, because it's not. Republicans are pretty rational people, and they can look at things and look at history, look at what happened, and realize that what Senator Paul is saying is simply not at all in concert with the facts.